You knew it was going to happen. The media is all upset about Super Bowl parties. They are the latest super spreader events. You know what was not a super spreader event? Celebrating Joe Biden's election as president of the United States. All over the country, people went out in the streets. They celebrated like crazy. Many people without masks on. Nobody even mentions the idea that it might be a super spreader event. But Notre Dame beats Clemson. They rush the field. Oh my God, what's going on? The Bucs win in Tampa, setting off parties inside of Tampa over the Bucs win. And the mayor of Tampa is all triggered. She said there needed to be investigations into people at parties who weren't wearing masks. What then automatically almost always happens anytime the mask police shows up, especially when a politician is involved, almost immediately, people find that politician having violated the same rules and regulations that they are now upset that other people are violating. The mayor of Tampa pictured all over the place when the Lightning were pursuing their championship. What was she doing? Not wearing a mask, of course, in all of the photographs that were taken of those celebrations, even watching the game. Best response I have seen from this came from Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, when he was asked about a photo of him at the Super Bowl that showed he was not wearing a mask. He said, "How else am I going to drink a beer?" And it's funny, but also true. You know, I went to the Tennessee-Kansas game. I've been to college basketball, college football, and NFL games during the pandemic. And I swear this is 100% true. I'm sitting in Thompson Bowling Arena watching Kansas play against Tennessee, and an usher comes up and taps me on the shoulder, and he says, "I'm sorry, sir, you need to wear your mask." And I said, "Well, I'm drinking this beer." And he said, "Oh, my bad. I didn't know you had a beer." So really, if you are drinking a beer, you don't have to wear a mask basically for an entire game. And so this whole ridiculousness of masks is like when you walk into an indoor restaurant all over the state of Tennessee or the state of Florida, the places that I have been living most frequently during the pandemic, and you have to wear the mask to walk to your table, but as soon as you are seated at your table, you can start eating and drinking and the mask can come off. This is all cosmetic theater, okay? It's all utterly ridiculous. There's no way to justify why you need to have a mask on walking into a restaurant, but you can immediately take it off once you're seated. All of it in many ways is, I believe, cosmetic theater. Now, the positive is COVID cases are plummeting on a massive scale all over the country. I think this is a combination of the vaccine, which now something like 35 or 40 million people have gotten their first dose, many of whom are the people who would ordinarily be the most in danger, including, by the way, my own parents, who are both 75 years old, and they got their vaccine here in Nashville. My stepfather has gotten the vaccine. My father-in-law has got, sorry, my stepfather-in-law. My father-in-law has gotten the vaccine. My stepmother-in-law. The elderly people in my life are all getting the vaccine now, and they're all fine post-vaccine. I hope it works. It hasn't been tested a lot in super elderly people, but we know it works and is very efficacious in younger people who were a part of the trial. So I hope this thing is going to work, but I think what you're seeing is twofold. I think we are seeing the vaccine, which is now out to 35 or 40 million people at least getting the first doses, which begins to offer protection. And I also think what you're seeing is a secondary part of this. A ton of people have already had the virus. So when you start talking about 35 or 40 million people vaccinated, plus 100 million-ish who have already been exposed to the virus, that's basically half the country. We're rapidly approaching 50% of the country either already having had the virus or now having the vaccine. And that is a pretty substantial component in why I think the numbers are being driven down. But all of this lunacy of people being upset about the parties is utterly ridiculous.